Okay, well, good evening. I'd like to start the meeting by paying tribute to Ian Markham, passed away on Friday, having suffered from ill health for quite some time. He'd been one of our longest serving councillors. In fact, I think he probably was elected before anybody else on the current council. And he was, of course, a villager, born and bred. He'd consistently contributed to the well-being of the village. He was involved, for example, in the early stages of the village. It's rather a sad memory because that was alongside Bert Tapp, Peter Hands and Mary Stacey, all of whom have passed away. He was responsible for planting many of the trees, particularly all the trees up in the top of Castlethorpe, which fortunately Heritage England never found out about, and also around the edge of the sports ground. And he monitored the health. And for example, it was Ian who first spotted that chestnut on the triangle was diseased and had to be brought down, which was very sad but necessary. But that was his knowledge that he had. And perhaps his greatest recent contribution was to the sports ground, where he supported its development and maintenance over the whole of the 25 years of his existence. He was outspoken in council meetings, and I say that with a grin because it was sometimes a little exasperating, but he did know his stuff. And in fact, I'd say his village knowledge was pretty much unparalleled, and he will be greatly missed. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything. Just in case anyone is, asking questions, and I've had one already. Jackie has spoken to Democratic Services. The notice of a vacancy will not be posted until after the funeral. Right. So we've effectively got 3 meetings tonight. The annual parish meeting, which is a meeting that all parishes have to have about this time of year, and in which I'll give a report to the village on events in the last year, and then invite others to do the same. The second meeting is the annual meeting of the council, which is a formal meeting where we elect a chair, vice chair, and allocate councillors' responsibilities for the coming year, and adopt the various standing orders and policies which govern how we conduct ourselves. And that precedes the normal monthly business. So once that's done, we'll have the normal open forum for up to 15 minutes. I'll give a little introduction as to what business is going to be covered tonight. And it is actually quite a short meeting. And then we'll have the ordinary monthly meeting. So that's 3. So I think, first of all, I need to take, well, actually, the apologies, council meeting. So I think I do move straight in to the chairman's report on the village. I'll cut this up, so I hope it's all going to work. I'm going to turn it over. Right. This report will be published in the next edition of Castlethorpe News. But the main focus of Parish Council's work in the past year has been the construction of the pavilion, and in partnership with a specially formed community interest company, Castlethorpe Community Space, equipping it, and then finally letting it to Claire Michelle to operate as a cafe, bar and restaurant. We first concentrated on the cricket pavilion side to make sure the new changing rooms were available for the 2024 cricket season. The pavilion side was extensively remodelled to provide new toilets, cupboards, large changing rooms, and a small parish office. Our contractor then, Hickfords, then constructed the new social side, and in September we were able to hold an open day to let the village see its new facility. Unfortunately, our ambition to open in the autumn was frustrated because we were initially unsuccessful in obtaining some large grants but we were able to reapply to the National Lottery, and in November we were told we'd been successful. At the same time, we'd launched an appeal to the village, and we received some generous donations. We then had to equip the social area, serving area, and kitchen jointly with CCS, Castlethorpe Community Space, CCS, and in parallel advertise and interview prospective tenants, which you'll all know they're opened the pavilion on the 1st of March, and our local MP, Chris Curtis, and I formally opened it on the 22nd of March. The Parish Council also bid for and was successful in obtaining a National Lottery grant for a monkey climbing wall, which is at the back of the pavilion garden area. This was a very intensive project that took over 2 years, and I would like to formally record thanks to Lawrence Chapman, who is the chair of CCS, Steve, Gordon Fleming, Russell, Ian Horn, and Luke Jeffries for their huge commitment and effort, and of course we wish Claire every success for the future with the pavilion. Peter, are you giving a report on the village shop?
Yeah, I wasn't intending to, but
Okay. Well, I'll read what I say, and if you want to add any more later. I didn't know whether you'd be coming tonight. So on the village shop, Udi and Dina have been victims of their own success, and the shop needed enlarging to continue to serve the needs of the village. This was dependent on acquiring the land in front of the shop, and we've been negotiating for 5 years with MKC to acquire the land. With the availability of some S106 or planning gain money, we had one final push, and they agreed to sell it to the parish council. And in parallel to that, the Shop Association, CBSA, another community interest company, had plans drawn up and obtained planning permission. As you all know, the extension's been completed and new fridges and freezers purchased to replace the original equipment, which was 17 years old and therefore no longer under warranty. The village's thanks are due to the CBSA board, which is David Scott in the chair, Nikki Birchall, John Keane, and I'm also on that. Peter Clark took over as company secretary and managed the construction work, which was undertaken by Andy Webster, and our particular thanks I would like to record to Peter for doing that work.
thank you.
Next topic is public art. There was also some planning gain money set aside for public art, and some meetings were held to discuss potential projects. Unfortunately, a lady at MKCC who was helping us passed away rather suddenly, and we've not been able to fully engage with her successor. There are 2 projects we would like to fund: a new village sign on the triangle and some artwork in the bus shelters. Hopefully now that the pavilion and village shop developments have been completed, we'll have more time to progress those projects. Best Kept Village. We weren't so fortunate on Best Kept Village in 2024, with perhaps harsher scoring in the category for the previous year's winners, which was us. We really aren't quite sure how we're going to respond to their comment that the general appearance of the village suffers from the main train line running through. Try and get it rerouted, I guess. As an aside on Best Kept Village, the Hanslope and Castlethorpe Beavers and Cubs did a litter pick on Station Road and collected 6 bags of rubbish. That's amazing, and again, our thanks to them. The Parish Council does have litter picking tools and high-vis jackets if anyone else is willing to help keep our village tidy. As an aside, the Beavers and Cubs also paraded at the Remembrance Day commemoration in November, which was greatly appreciated, and we hope that's going to be the start of an annual presence of them. Best Kept Village is run every June, and we've entered again this year, so any help would be appreciated. Highways. Highways maintenance remains unsatisfactory. This is due to limited funding. Fortunately, some of the worst potholes, particularly in Bullington End Road, have been repaired after a number of damaged tyres and wheels, I might add. And the Parish Council maintains a list of problems. And that includes missing and damaged curbstones, faded signs and leaning posts, but MKCC basically, with their acute financial problems, are only attending to issues which are unsafe. So, for example, the Animals Crossing sign on Billington End Road, which has been missing for a year and which is regarded as an immediate category. You can't even report it online. You have to phone up and they're meant to deal with it within a day, has now been deemed as unnecessary. So it's just going to remain there as a bare post indefinitely. Ironically, West North Hands, with the help of our ward councillors, and who interceded with the neighbouring West North Hands councillor, have repaired the worst of the potholes by the navigation and even resurfaced an area. The Milton Keynes would do the same in Bullington End Road. But unfortunately, heavy traffic has caused damage to one of the bridges, and the traffic lights will be there for the foreseeable future, while West North Hands assess the problem, decide on the solution, and then find the funds to repair it. The Parish Council has asked our ward councillors to keep liaising with the West North Hands ward councillors to see if a weight limit, for example, might be a practical solution on those bridges. Inconsiderate parking remains a problem in several parts of the village, but particularly in South Street and joining roads such as the entrance to Maltingsfield and School Lane. It's difficult to park when many of our older houses preceded the car, but please do consider others. We purchased a child bollard to control parking at the entrance to School Lane after a successful trial. And we've also, thanks to Kay, put down marked parking spaces in a section of South Street and have asked Milton Keynes Council to quote for doing more. Funnily enough, the quote that they gave us for those original parking spaces was very reasonable. So I'm sure we'll go ahead if the next one comes in the same. As spring has arrived, well, it's almost summer, and trees and bushes are growing again, could I ask residents with street lights on their boundary to ensure their herbage doesn't obstruct the light, especially where pavements are illuminated? Planning, you may remember the Parish Councillor Kay Sawbridge and resident Peter Clark led a campaign to get Gobbersfield registered as a village green to retain its use of an area widely used by the village for recreational purposes. We warned this would be a long process, and so it has proved. We check periodically, but the news is no further progress.
Would it be possible maybe?
Well, yeah, we'll come back. Okay. Milton Keynes Council's new local plan, the next stage of the consultation called Regulation 19 for, it's actually called the New City Plan or NCP, will begin in September this year, with submission of the plan to the Secretary of State for examination proposed for March 2026. The local plan, among other things, designates land for housing, but we do not expect housing land in Castlethorpe to be allocated in the current plan, unless Alison's got some bad news for us. But
I think it'd be challenged.
Ward boundaries review. The Local Government Boundaries Commission for England has recommended the number of ward councillors be increased from 57 to 60 to reflect the growth of MK. They've also proposed changing the ward boundaries to ensure that each ward has approximately the same number of electors. Because the rural part of Milton Keynes is not quite big enough to populate 2 wards, they have to include some urban areas. And Hanslope, Castlethorpe and Havisham have been put into a ward which includes New Bradwell, Bradville and Oakridge Park. We think this is highly inappropriate, as does New Bradwell, because the issues and interests of urban and rural areas are quite different. And all the above parishes have written to LGBCE to ask them to reconsider. I gather that their decision is due to be published at the beginning of June, and I have to say I do not have high hope that there will be any change. And I'd like to finish on community. We're continuing to run the free afternoon teas every other Wednesday in the village hall from 2 till 4 p.m. Call it community tea, and we lay out the tables together so that residents and their friends can talk. Do come. And if you know someone in the village who doesn't get out very often, there are a lot of older people who don't, do encourage them to come or help them to come. And those that are in that situation do really appreciate it. So overall, I think we've done quite a lot in the village in the last year to make it a better place to live, and I hope we'll continue with your support in the coming year. So that's the end of my chair's report. Are there any questions?
Welcome, can I ask a question? Firstly, to say I think fabulously well done, particularly on the pavilion, which has obviously been a huge success for the village. Can I ask what the priorities for the parish council are going to be over the next couple of years, having got the pavilion over the line and got the shop over the line? What do you see the priorities are going forward?
Well, you will see on our agenda tonight, you know, that there are different schemes. I mean, I have mentioned that I would like us to spend this public art money. It's about £36,000 or £38,000. It's quite a lot of money. Unfortunately, the new public arts officer at Milton Keynes Council seems to want to make us jump through hoops to get hold of that money and disperse it. So I think that will take quite a lot of effort in the short term. I have put on the agenda, but this is not a council commitment until we've discussed it, that I would like us to look at putting solar panels onto the clubhouse pavilion, because I think that could be a bit of an earner for us. And I think we might be able to get some grants to enable us to do that. But we're not even at the investigation stage until the parish council agrees to do that. Once the Milton Keynes local plan has been finalised and is there, we will have to renew our neighbourhood plan, because the neighbourhood plan sits below and has to interlock with that. So we may have to adjust our neighbourhood plan to make sure that it still fits. It might be trivial, it might just be changing some words, or it might be more substantial. The parish council hasn't decided on, to the best of my knowledge, on anything else that you know, we're planning to do over that next period. But I mean, I think that could take us quite a while anyhow. Well, if something else, and Alison has to get away, would you like to give a ward councillor's report, Alison? If you would like to. Well, it's for the, yeah. I think if you give the report to the parish meeting, if you would like to come forward and sit in that chair, then you do normally get about 50 to 80 people watching. So
No pressure then.
That's lined up all right.
yes.
So yes, just to reiterate a couple of things, we have been working with West North End councillors. We obviously had a challenge with some of the councillors a couple of weeks ago, but we put as much pressure as we can to them to keep them and us informed on what's going on. As you said, it is a structural issue. It's not just surface damage. I've got a meeting later this month with Public Realm to ask them about the weight restriction on there, because there was used to be. I know when we used to have to bring horse lorries the long way around because we won't have to stay over there. But no doubt that'll be a lengthy process, because although both councils are agreeing to whatever the process is. But it's on our agenda. A couple of other things, and also just to mention, we're talking about the pavilion solar panel project. So we did that at Hounslow. Richard Walland, our parish councillor, worked with the council and all the different bodies, and he has a route map.
Okay.
To making it done, so I'd like to be able to do all the introduction.
If we decide to investigate that, would be very helpful. Yeah.
And also
Richard
Walland, councillor up at Hounslow, but I'll just drop an email introducing
Thank you.
because I did a report for the research, and they're now up and running, and they are generating income, as well as allowing the floodlights on the Mugger to be on in the evenings during the summer.
Okay.
So,
and they've got grants for that, presumably.
yes.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
A couple of other things, again, just in response to what you were talking about, public art SY6. I've been working on a couple of S106 projects, and the council are making things very difficult. And it's been long, tedious, and a fight. But we've managed to get there. But I'm asking for a review of their scheme of delegation of having actually made the decision and so on. So we'll happily support many of the projects that you're doing. I'm becoming very familiar with all the terminology, the twists, the turns, and the nonsense. A couple of other things that probably affect Castlethorpe is the doctor's surgery at Hanslope, which I know the problems tumble on, but I have finally, with the help of the leader of Northampton Council, got in front of the Northampton Integrated Care Board. The Integrated Care Board is who runs health in our area. Hanslope surgery doesn't fall under Milton Keynes Integrated Care Board, it falls under Northampton, because their main office is Northampton, and it seems a branch. There is no way of undoing that unless you uncouple, and there's no incentive for a practice to have a branch run as a separate business. It doesn't make sense. However, it has caused an awful lot of problems. I know for residents, certainly who, especially those receiving end-of-life care or specialist referral care, being sent to Northampton when they can't get there, and so on. So we drafted in the right people, and we had the head of the ICB, the head of emergency care, primary care, and end-of-life care all in the same room to talk about it. So they are working on a project to make sure that ambulances are going to go to the geographically right, as long as it's clinically okay. So if you have a problem that, say, only Northampton can treat because they don't have a specialist at Milton Keynes, then obviously you go to Northampton. But I don't, from my own parents, I had one in Northampton, one in Milton Keynes, and it was a bloody nightmare at a bad time anyway. So they're working with the ambulance services to smooth those issues out. But the most important thing is the referrals and where people are being sent for treatment, which has caused again some real issues. And for example, coming back from hospice care, organising ambulance transport back to Hanslope Castlethorpe has been a nightmare, but it's had to come from Northampton. That they're working on to make sure that that doesn't happen, and we don't have people who are already distressed with a bad enough time going through that. And one of the things that they were going to be piloting for Northampton in general was looking at some of our most vulnerable residents, specifically starting with the over 65s, to make sure it's actually recorded where they want to be treated, whether that's emergency care, referral care, perhaps even hospice care. And because fortunately I managed to have a meeting with them at the right time, they're going to start off in this area by contacting everybody 60 and 65 and over to make sure that's recorded on the records at Hanslope. And then they're also going to take some other steps working with Hanslope to try and improve patients are dealt with. And they've assured me that all the long work that was done on the extension of the practice has not been lost, and we won't be going back to day one. And now that there's a new management of practice in, that will restart. And then
sorry, is there new management?
Well, a new company took over, Grange Park Medical Group. I think, well, was it earlier this year? It was earlier this year. No, we may. I think it was earlier this year. So that's been a bit of a scandal.
This is from Dr. Eunice.
Yes. And so there is a new group also based in Northampton that have taken over the group of surgeries, the Rhodes, Blisworth, here and Grange Park. So the expansion of the surgery project, of which we already have funding and planning, it's just the will to make it work. It's now going to be much further up their agenda, and we can describe it. So stand by your beds, not hospital beds, and we shall have an update on exactly when that's going to kick off as well. But that's been a major bit of trying to get.
If I could say that the reverse problem, I did have a resident who said that she had been sent to Northampton, and they actually said, "Why have you been sent here?"
Yeah.
So it wasn't people wanting to go to Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
Going to Northampton. It was somebody sent to Northampton, being told you would be at Milton Keynes.
And one of the things, because of the patient care, you can actually nominate to go anywhere if you want to go to hospital,
yes,
Peterborough or Scarborough or something like that. But That's why I wanted to work with the ICB to make sure, because there are all these things people can do, but you wouldn't know about it. And the onus shouldn't be on the patient or resident. And so that's why they're going to work on this communication project. At the moment, I've written up everything from our meeting. They'll approve the notes so that then we can all, and obviously it'd be great to have the parish councils help me kind of spread the word about what should be happening, because I know it's caused a lot of stress for a lot of people. So hopefully we're almost there.
Okay.
Shouldn't say that. And then, yes, new city plan. So the next stage of consultation starts in September. What I've been requesting is, because although this area isn't on what the council are recommending, it would suffice me if the developers will contest that.
Yes.
Quite often. And they will probably invest quite a lot of money. And so what I request from the council is where we can see the comments or the rationale that developers are saying, because they'll put it input into the first round of consultation. So once I have that, again, we will share.
Okay.
But I would imagine there'll be probably a bit of a fight. But
yeah,
we're there for change fights, that's for sure. And I think that's about it. I know that there's continuing problems with potholes and the state of the roads. And what I would always say is, please make sure you're reporting them on the website and not on Fix My Street or any app. Go onto the council website or phone them. And then if you find that things aren't done, then get your ward councillor involved, because there are actually a lot of repairs going on, but sometimes it seems if you shout loudly, I've got enough voice. So
yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
I've got one question.
yeah.
The bit of road going up from Brock Ward navigation at TRP Road, Cosgrove,
Yes.
where for a lot of vehicles it's blind right turn.
Yeah.
Are West Northants considering anything up there? Because that's been a kind of hot potato for quite a while now.
I don't know is the answer, because it hasn't been. I certainly haven't had it raised to me. So are you talking about? So
The traffic
navigation.
Oh,
The T junction.
Yeah.
where you want to turn.
I don't know. It's. I always.
Well, if you're in that or
Yeah.
two-seater,
Right.
you just can't see
Yeah.
all that because you're turning right.
Okay, my answer is, I don't know.
Well, no, well, I mean, it's pity Tony's not here. I don't know if he was aware it was a 7 o'clock start, but because he normally does come to parish council meetings. But he said that Cosgrove Parish Council have been asking that to be made into a T junction for ages now.
Yeah.
And of course, there are a lot of accidents, but they're working with their ward councillor.
Yes.
And there you go. Oh, it's changed, it's not in.
Yes, one stayed and one
Okay.
stayed.
Tony's.
Okay.
So I'll ask a question on the roads. Great that the work's been done, this is moving all over the place. But can I ask about coordination, because must have been a couple of weeks ago when it put diversions in place. Yeah, there was roadworks in Cosgrove, the top end of Hanslow, out of the village. They diverted you through Newport Packnell, which have roadworks right through the main street.
Yeah.
So there seems to be no coordination, and what happens is you do the gridlock.
Yeah.
All of that side of the Milkins up.
It was a Thursday about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And the only way you could get in, Haverton was closed, Cosgrove was closed, Hanslow was closed. The only way you could get into the village was by driving up to Newport Packnell and round in. We did actually, Jackie did write to the highways liaison lady and said, you know, this really isn't on. And I have to say her response was, well, we do make every effort to try and keep one open. One of them, I think it might have been the Hanslow one, was actually an emergency. And
This doesn't seem to be, I mean, it's not just one day, there are several days. If you've got major roadworks through Newport Packnell, which you do on the high street,
Yeah.
been closed for a number of days
Yeah.
over the week. Putting your diversion straight into another lot just absolutely gridlocked in your bank.
It is, a lot of the time it does. They totally uncoordinated. I know because I've sat with the team, they do speak to West Northants, they do try and minimise it, but even if they've got a couple of road closures, if you have an emergency, if there is an emergency road defect that has to be done, it can't be delayed, and then actually to withdraw the permit, and so I know that it's painful, but it also shows that because myself, Chris and Liam have been counting very, very loudly about the appalling state of the roads. So we are getting fixes. It's a real.
Yeah.
But.
It's a huge price, so they're doing fixing the roads.
I think
I know it doesn't look like.
I would say there are two particular factors at the moment. One is that City Fibre are putting in their network. Hopefully they're getting close to having got it in now. But they've been having a lot of road closures, and on that particular day, I think at least one of them was down to City Fibre. I think that was closing on Faversham. And the other thing is, and I'm told it's because of health and safety reasons, that instead of just putting up some cones and the traffic lights and working behind the cones, they now do just close the road. So instead of having a managed flow of traffic, which at least gets you through on the road, now it's just closed. You have to divert, and as you say, Tony, it can be. I mean, on that day we had some people. Well, I think it was a Waitrose delivery driver. But he was saying, you know, he came up from Buckingham and he couldn't get through there, so he then went up, couldn't get through Hounslow, then went round and had to go right the way around through Newport to get to us, and he was very, very behind.
I think it was quite a few weeks ago because it's brought up at the last parish
talked about it.
Yeah.
which is why Jackie got that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was.
Any other questions for Alison? I know she's. Yeah.
So just go back to Milton Keynes Hospital and Northampton Hospital. When I had breast cancer 4 years ago, Dr. Wedgeborough sent me to Northampton. Anyway, that was fine. And then when I was due for my treatment, my oncologist said to me, "Oh, you're Milton Keynes." Basically, why did you come here? Anyway, he said, if you're in Milton Keynes for your treatment, you would need to go to Oxford. But you're my patient, so you will come and have your treatment there. So why do patients from Milton Keynes have to go to Oxford for radiotherapy, chemotherapy?
Sometimes it's about the clinical ability. So for example, when my mum had breast cancer, only Northampton did radiotherapy. She couldn't get that at Milton Keynes.
No.
They've opened the new. So she had to dot between the two, but it depends sometimes just where the clinical.
Yeah, because going to Oxford every day is no joke,
Yeah.
is it?
Absolutely, and that's why the expansion of the hospital and what they're doing is going to make a huge difference, because in my own experience.
That's good.
Mhm.
Isn't it? Particularly if you haven't got somebody, well, mine was during COVID, so I had to go on my own anyway. But if you're elderly, you know, you really need somebody with you.
And that would be the advice, even if you do here, if you see one here who says, go here, you can always ask,
Yeah.
is there anything I could go to?
Oh, that's
another
good.
Keynes instead.
Yeah.
So then you can do it. That way.
Thank you. Anything else for Alison?
I don't know whether we've got it on our agenda for later anyway, about the Milton Keynes decision to withdraw the calling
Ah, yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
Have you got any further update?
I've got a meeting tomorrow night about it. Obviously, it's coming in front of full council. For those who don't know, Milton Keynes Council have decided to. They've criticised in a peer review about scrutiny, so how we look at projects that the council is doing, or raft things. And they also there's a group of councillors had a call in, which is where they made a decision. We've got a time frame that we can call in their decision and ask for more information and then scrutinise it in front of a panel. The last one we've had 2 in so far this year. One of them was very well attended, was over 100 people in the public. There was various parish councils called it in and councillors. I sat on the panel. It was a great meeting. I don't think the council administration particularly liked it because it was democracy in action with a lot of people not liking the decision. We had another one recently, and at that meeting, the leader of the council asked for the whole call-in procedure to be reviewed. And then very quickly, they've turned around the document which came out the week before the last saying that parish councils, who have always been a body that have been able to challenge the council, will no longer have that right. Neither will residents groups. And the scrutiny committees, which I sit on too, will be reduced in size. So we're going to have less eyes, we're going to have less people able to challenge the decision. I think it's bloody outrageous. You know, I find life on a council frustrating. This I find absolutely abhorrent because it's taking away. I know that parish until recently a parish councillor as well. Nobody knows Castlethorpe like the parish council. Nobody knows Hanslope like the Hanslope parish council. To withdraw that, I think is abhorrent.
Yeah. Well, there is a, I mean, we're going to discuss it later on, but there is a Teams call tomorrow night. I'll be
Yes.
on that. I have got a script. I'll try and remember to send it to you.
Yes, and it's coming up
but,
for full council on
And it's
Wednesday
full
night.
council on Wednesday. I mean, the other thing about this, you know, I do want to this is quite clearly an egregious breach of the document that they signed up to called Together We Can, which is the document which says how Milton Keynes Council and parish councils work together, which guarantees that on matters that affect parishes, there will be consultation period of not less than 6 weeks, unless it's a planning matter, because planning can be statutorily less. And 6 weeks is chosen because that's roughly the cycle to make sure you get into every parish council to meet. And this is being done actually in less than 6 days. I mean, it's just quite outrageous, actually. Just quite outrageous.
The unfortunate thing is because it's coming before full council on Wednesday night, so I'm council on holiday and I'm going to be there because I'm going to speak about it because I'm so angry.
Yeah.
But they also, you know, this to me is a sign of there's not a lot of decisions coming that they don't challenge. And that I don't think is wrong. You should always be able to challenge it. And again, you've got to think not just only if you change the rules now, it's not just for the people who are currently in administration. Who comes next? Because they may actually be worse. And I think we need safeguards, we need parish council, we need residents groups to be heard because they're the experts. Really disappointing, and it's sad that especially a couple of the characters didn't like being publicly challenged. Some very bad decisions and some egregious spending of money. But there we go. But there's one thing I've said to other parish councils in my patch, as you can tell, you'll know how I feel about it. But I said, you know, tell all the other clerks to write to their ward councillors. Because this will go through a simple majority and the current administration have a simple majority. Only need a couple of them to really stand up and say this is just bad.
Well, we'll see how we get on with Lauren Townsend tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There we go.
There we go. Thank you very much, Alison.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Now, who else wants to speak? Yvonne, did you want to talk about? No.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay.
Don't forget that, you know, I'm so accident prone, you know me.
Thank you, so much, speak.
Probably sounds thing. It's a good job I got my voice back then. Yes.
It's so nice to.
Shush. My name's Yvonne Hands. I'm president of Castlethorpe WI. This is a report of last year's meetings. In March, we had Easter craft run by a committee member, Jan Newman-Bracey. We had a great time making Easter bonnets. April, games night, and as we only had a few members at this meeting, we talked about our hobbies, collections and holiday souvenirs. In May, we didn't have a meeting because all the members were at Ascension Day service in church. Michelle and John Gerard talked about their holiday and tour of Madagascar with slides of the island and the famous lemurs. Also about the awful bug most of the tour group picked up. Their donation went to Willand Hospice. In July, we had Andy Harding. He told us about moths of the English country garden and the 2,800 varieties. In August, we were supposed to have Scott Humphreys. He was to do a walk and talk in Castlethorpe, but was hospitalised, and so we enjoyed cakes by one of our members, Julie Craven. In September, we had an evening cream tea at Lodge Farm Court, the cafe, and we enjoyed by all of us. In October, Kevin Barty gave a talk called Pictures in the Parlour, the story of the magic lantern from its invention in the 1650s, its heyday in Victorian times, and its demise in the 1950s. He showed us lots of slides and explained how these were made by painting on glass. In November, Jean Yates told us about Ladies of the Grand Tour and its intrepid wives, widows and mistresses. December, the Christmas party and the buffet was supplied by the Cake Tin of Hanslow, and every member received a gift of a notebook and pen plus chocolates, and donations from the raffle went to Willen Hospice. In January, we had a very enjoyable games evening. February was the AGM and puddings. Members were asked to bring a favourite pudding for us all to enjoy. In March, we had the pizza guy. Howard De Silva gave us a talk and made pizzas, and we all went home a little full after many tastings. We have a raffle which is well supported and refreshments every month. We meet the second Thursday of each month at 7:30 in the village hall, and all are welcome. And you can have a chat too.
Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you. Tony, did you want to talk about the news club?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Tony Rice. I am the current interim chair of Castlethorpe Youth Club. Castlethorpe Youth Club is now in its 36th year. It's still the longest running youth club in Buckinghamshire. However, we are at a major crossroads, which I'll explain later. For those who don't know, Castlethorpe Youth Club in the last year was open from 11 to 16-year-olds, that's year sixes. We started the year with good attendance, good activities, range of activities. We've done trips and cycle trips and bowling and rock climbing, as well as supporting things like the duck race. We ran the welly wanging and a few other schools there. And we also obviously run the Carols on the Green at Christmas, and we've raised £200 from the last couple, which are going to Willen Hospice, which we're presenting to them in the next couple of weeks. All that said, we have seen quite a dramatic decline, both in the number of youth club members, and more worryingly, youth club leavers, i.e. parents who are volunteers who would like to or who could come along 1 week in 4, is what we use, to support the activities. We have to have 3 youth leaders on as per our constitution, mix of ladies and gents, so if there's any accidents, we've still got 2 people on board to our health and safety. But numbers have been really low, and we ended up going to fortnightly. We also got to the point where we only were having about 3 members a week turn up. So before Christmas, did a major push, sent a letter out to every household. We had it delivered, paid for it to be delivered. We put it on the Facebook page, we put it on the village site. We even put it in the newsletter, encouraging more young people to come along, and particularly more youth leaders, so we could try and get it open more frequently. From that, we had 2 inquiries, one of which was no good, and we attracted 1 new member temporarily. She's just finished uni, and she's with us for a year until she drops off. In March, beginning of March, we had an emergency general meeting with all our youth leaders. Because my concern was actually, is youth club actually viable anymore? Things have moved on. Most of the kids talk to each other, on their phones now anyway. Do they really want to come to youth club? So we had a very positive meeting with all the youth leaders. They were very keen to keep it going. But this also in the shadow of the fact that both myself, after about 18 or 19 years, I can't remember daughter's birthday, and Tracy Jones, our secretary, explained we would be stepping down at the AGM later that month, which we have done. All that said, we did come up with a plan because those volunteers we have got are very keen to keep things going. So I'm pleased to say that Youth Club will continue for the summer term because we were going to shut it. We have gone back to weekly.
Oh, fantastic.
We have attracted 2 new youth leaders, but we have now subsequently lost 2 existing youth leaders, one who's moving out of the village and one whose daughter's no longer coming. And we ran an open evening. We've lowered the entry age, and check that I'm sure, is now to 10, so year 5 attending Antwerp. We've got a new social media guru in place who's setting up a new Insta and is posting vibrant and lively adverts for all our young people to come along. I'm pleased to say the last couple of weeks we've had 15 to 20 people attend, which is brilliant. That said, we still have got nobody who's willing to take over the chair or the secretary role. And we are still very short of youth leaders because the youth leaders there now, some are doing 3 weeks a month. There seems to be, frustratingly, an incredible apathy for parents and some of our young people to actually turn up. It's more of a drop-in service, which is a real shame. And now, the summer term is a make or break term because, the youth leaders have said, look, yeah, we will put in the extra time this summer term with a view to getting people in.
Yeah.
Both as members and youth leaders. But if we can't get more youth leaders in, if we can't get someone to step into the chair secretary, the youth club will close at the end of the summer term.
Can I ask of the youth leaders that are there at the moment, how many of them have actually got children attending? The regular ones.
The regular ones, there are now, the 2 new ones we've got on haven't. Kevin and his wife have come on, Vicky. There are now 5. I mean, you look at the committee we had, none of the committee, myself, Tracy, Scott Pearson, Ollie, who was a senior leader, none of us had children. They all left. I think the most recent one left about 6 years ago.
Because I find that quite astonishing that people just treat it like a babysitting service.
That's exactly how it is.
And that it's such a valuable commodity. And get kids off their phones, get them outside, get them socialising, and get them running around in the fresh air or in here making things, doing things, trips. I think that it's very sad that that parents are treating it like that. And I know maybe they don't realise how much effort goes into it because the people that do run it at the moment, they work. I mean, Ollie, for instance, he works every hour that God sends. He had Sunday off. Hooray! Didn't have last Sunday off, and he works usually 6 days a week, sometimes longer, and in the evenings. Yet he is prepared to actually spend his time at youth club, and as are the others, looking after and making a really nice atmosphere for other people's children. And he doesn't have children of his own. I mean, my kids are grown up, and it would be very nice if other people who had children, and even if you haven't got children there, actually came and had a look at youth club to see how amazing it is, and you get a lot out of it as well, looking after young people.
Yeah, you pushing against that. Okay, I understand what you're saying. The problem you have, things have changed. The older kids, and we used to probably lose our young people around about 14, 15. Yeah. We probably are losing more now because things have moved on. Yeah. And also our youth leaders, they are dedicated parents. They come along because they're charged there and they're willing to help out. But what we don't have, in past days with the likes of Yvonne and Graham Daniels and Roger Chapman and we lost Joe. Myself and the people there are people who are willing to stay when their kids leave.
Yeah.
To keep it open. It is. I mean, I took over the baton from Yvonne and Graham and Lawrence, who put in, a hell of a shift. I've kind of said, look, the time is now ready for some fresh blood because, I don't know the kids anymore, and you need to know the young people that are going through. We've now got the kids of some of the people that I was looking after, coming in. Yes, but people have got busy lives, and you can't force people to do it. This is what we have in the village. It is great. It is brilliant. It's a great atmosphere. We've got some great facilities and activities for the kids to do.
And you're not asking for them to every week, are you?
No.
It's usually about once every.
We try and get it. We have enough number.
Yeah.
We try and get once, maybe twice in a month.
So if more people joined in, it'd be like once or twice.
We want
For
to
a
month
few,
usually.
and it is only a couple of hours as well on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
So people in the village, please.
Time changes. That's where we're at, I'm afraid. So we've also been pleased. We've had a chat with Claire, because obviously in the summer months we use a sports field. I've had a chat with Claire. She's been fantastic. She said, look, I hope you run your summer barbecue, which we run at the end of the term, which attracts next year's new intake, which will be next year's year 5. And she's been brilliant in terms of anything we can do. Financially, we're in a great position. We're spending some of that money getting new equipment in and doing a bit of marketing. But it will close if we don't get committee positions filled and we get more youth leaders in place.
Okay. Well, I think what I'd say is, first of all, thank you to you and to your colleagues who do this. It is tremendous, and I think the discussion that you and Kay have just had has really sent the message, to everyone that's watching this, and I just hope it meets with a good response.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you very much.
Youth leaders they've got now, where my first lot of intake at youth club.
Indeed. Anyone else want to speak? No? Okay, in that case, I think we will call the end to the parish meeting part, and we'll move into the second meeting, the annual meeting of the council. Anyway, so thank you very much for coming. Yeah, you're welcome to stay, of course, but you may find it. Okay. So moving into the annual meeting, apologies for absence from Dave Hines by way of holiday.
Don't worry about the chairs, no, we can sort them out. We've got them.
So used to doing it.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you. So item number 2 is a election of election of chair. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. We can do that. Election of vice chair. I'm happy to propose Russell again. Right, so now to deal with the rest on block, as it were. With the obvious exception of Ian, and I mean, as it happens, there are in all of the areas where Ian had responsibilities, there were I think in all cases, at least 2 others. So, I think we're, we can continue with that. Is just to formally confirm that everyone's happy with that. I know Jackie circulated it beforehand.
Yeah, happy.
For the ones that can't be in it, we just take.
Just take him out.
Just take him out.
And when we get a new,
Yeah.
a new councillor,
Give them the
we'll ask.
opportunity to go in.
Sorry?
Give it, if we, yeah, new councillor co-opted, and give them the opportunity to.
Yes, to see where they want to go, yeah. It doesn't have to be filling in shoes. They
No,
can
but.
do what they're interested in.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah. So adopting the standing orders, Jackie circulated them all a while ago. There are some formal changes to bring them in line with legislation, which
Are we going to leave all of these on?
yeah, leave all.
them on, even if they're not.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, I mean that is a good point, Jackie. Just looking down there, the
Flower festival, is that still?
yeah, that still goes, and Dave still likes to do that. So section 6 is fine. Section 7. I mean, I think we should note that the NAG is not currently meeting. I mean, I hope that there'll be something to replace it. I mean, it's just, I just feel at the moment we've lost. I mean, Tilly's very good in sending us the crime stats every month, but I hardly ever see her. I haven't, in fact, seen her for ages.
She basically just, the crime figures are just in there up. So more detail.
I do think there are a couple of things that we should really be following up on with regard to kind of events that have happened.
Yeah, well, what I might do is I might have another word with Dorothy. Well, there are 2 things. One is there are some immediate things we should follow up on, including this dreadful assault that we're all aware of. How much Tilly is able to share with us, I really don't know, because obviously it's not going peace matter. But it would be nice to see her at one of these meetings.
It would, and
so I think if you could.
And to hear what she can tell us.
Yeah. And then more broadly, I think I will try and contact Dorothy to see if we can't try and reconstitute the NAG. I mean, it did discuss, I mean, I know a lot of it was parking and speeding and dog howling. But that is the stuff of these NAGs actually, and there were actions that were taken to sort it out. I'll see how she feels on it.
What about Newport Pagnell North and Hanslope local?
Right, moving on to that. I mean, I think that is almost a dead duck again. I mean, what we could do, and it died when Newport Pagnell came in, because their interests were just so different to the villages that we couldn't have meaningful discussions. And of course, it's going to get even worse if we, as I expect we will do, we have other urban areas coming in. So what I might suggest is that we try and set up a rural forum. And we could actually even involve the NAG in it, actually. So I might talk to Richard and Dorothy about having a kind of rural forum.
Yeah, because I think the idea of that forum was synergies. Was to actually be able to work together and work cooperatively to kind of solve problems between us and things like that. And as you say, we're not going to do that in Newport Pagnell, nor are we going to do it with New Bradwell and things like that. So I think it would maybe, I think it's worth trying.
Yeah, I mean, I should say that, when it was in its heyday, Milton Keynes officers did used to come out regularly and attend. So we'd have someone like Stuart Simmons for public transport, or the then head of highways would roll up and talk to us about the problems. Whether we get that these days or whether they just say, oh, we're too busy. But interestingly, in that Together We Can document, it does say they will provide people with parish meetings. This is not a parish meeting, it would be 3 parishes. So, yeah. All right, I'll pick that up. I think we should probably just mark these 2 as, you know, in abeyance.
Yeah.
Is the bus users group still going?
Yeah,
You okay, good.
and
And
also the, new, council stakeholders meetings still going as well.
are you on that?
I'm on the, represent all the parish councils.
Okay.
What's it called, Roster?
Used to be called the, transport stakeholders, it's called something.
You let me know when it's good and then.
Okay. And I think delete stars.
Yeah.
Stars hasn't been around for, I would say, a decade.
But not in my time as parish clerk.
Okay, thank you for reminding me. So we delete those. We should update these things. Right, the policies. Can I move to adopt?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's good. Right. Well, not a lot of point in suspending the meeting now for an open forum. For those of you watching on YouTube, the residents who came in for the parish meeting have now left. But in the ordinary meeting, we'll have the clerk's report. Ward councillor's already given her report in the parish meeting. There are no new planning applications this month. There is just one resolution that will be considered tonight, which is investigating the feasibility of installing solar panels. There is a second resolution on transferring assets to Castlethorpe Community Space, but as Russell, Steve and I would have to recuse ourselves because we're part of that, and Kay and Darren are not for it. This will have to be deferred to next month, and hopefully Dave will be here as well. And there is a part 2 of the meeting from which the public are excluded to consider a quote for repairing the village hall garden fence and also staff matter. The next meeting, for those of you that don't hang on to the end, is on the 2nd of June at the usual time of 7:30. And if I could tell you that
We've got the 3rd of June.
It's the second.
Second, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, that's me. I've got that wrong.
if you're watching on YouTube, we are hoping to move to a new channel during the course of this next month. That will give us a bit more flexibility. And we'll publish that if we get it working. So please watch Facebook or the village website, and we'll let you know the details of that.
Does that ensure that we can still find the old meetings?
The old meetings will be where they are. I'll probably change the meeting, the name of it to Parish Council Archive or something. And then going forward, I'll rename the channel Parish Council again.
So the search on Castlethorpe Parish Council
Should work, but let us get it working. Let us be able to search for it successfully, and then when we've done that, I just hope if it goes wrong, we'll be able to go back. But anyway, here we go. Right. So on that basis, let's have a look at the clerk's report.
I've got to read the minutes.
Oh, sorry, minutes, sorry. How did I manage that? Right. Minutes of the previous meeting. Any matters of accuracy that anyone would like to raise?
No.
Yeah. In that case, can I propose to adopt? Second by Russell. All in favour. So clerk's report. Close that one. Make it bigger. The notice board has been ordered. Good. Bullington End. Oh, the sign is up actually. Oh, good.
Yeah, Ollie.
Ollie put it
Thank
back up.
you.
Oh, great, great. Do thank Victoria.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for-
Okay, so the project requested parking bases in and right. Oh, Luke's going to have a look at that. I think.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. This is the one that borders into Thrupp Close, you know, which is almost completely collapsed now. So
He said it's
there are-
quite busy at the moment, but he's.
it'll be even busier for a sheep. Yeah.
Yeah. shape.
So I'm sure they actually got through the hedge.
Yeah.
I don't think they came down the path.
No, this isn't that. This is the gate next to Luke's Jeffries,
Okay.
which is almost collapsed now.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So basically, in fact, on that, ask Luke to give us a quote, depending on timing. I mean, actually, the 2nd of June isn't that far away because we're so late this month because of the bank holiday.
Yeah.
So it probably will be in time for us to discuss then. But otherwise, if it misses that or whatever, I will suggest that Jackie circulates it to make the quote to make sure we're all happy with it, and then authorises on her authority. Because she's seriously worried it is going to, if someone leans on it, the whole thing's going to go. You know,
See what he advises.
right. Anything else on sections down to number 10? Item number 11, that's still outstanding, is it?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's the climbing frame and fittings.
Yeah.
Been down.
Sorry?
Haven't been down for a
No,
while.
I haven't been down. I must go through that. The Stonewater Swale, are you continuing to monitor, Steve?
I haven't been down there for a while, but I will go down and have a look
Yeah, get Jake to take you.
at it. Yeah.
And,
Well, I'm getting nothing. People have retired and stuff. Again, it's a lot of, that's before our time. We didn't really know about that. Was the general feedback I'm getting from work, unfortunately. I don't know if you can, anybody can find anything now that we have the office, and I think there was mention previously of old reports might have.
Well, I mean, we're talking about 2007, and I honestly do not have my paperwork for that. But I mean, do you know, whilst there is an historic bit, I'm not quite sure what the importance of it is. I mean, they could say, well, you're just telling lies and you're just making it up. But I can't see that 3 parish councils would do that. It's really therefore just basically saying, are they prepared to make a grant to us?
Well, again, they won't give it, they're not pointing me in the right direction of somebody to speak to. It's gone into the ether when I've spoken to people in essence.
Yeah.
So again, it's just finding, I can try and try some different avenues or something and reach out to other people in the States, but the ones I know.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it's difficult. It's difficult because you work there as well, but you know, if you can, do it without being embarrassing, that would be great.
Just right, they probably won't say no, but you can try then.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Say number 14. I just don't know where we can go with that because the natural took was to speak to Newport Pagnell to see what they've done about getting their police station listed, and they employed a consultant at considerable cost to make an application. But I really forget now what the benefits would be, what we were going to get out of it. I don't know whether Sustrans were at one stage looking to do something around the result of that.
I mean, I think probably it's a discussion that we ought to have outside of this.
Yeah.
I mean, it may well be that we do have to talk to someone like Sus, but I mean, of course, Sustrans don't have a huge amount of money themselves. Having to raise
it's not really their phone.
It's not theirs, no. I mean, it's historic historic building, really.
Yeah.
All right, well, look, there's no progress in here,
I
just leave it
I
there.
just don't know.
Yeah.
what-
Yeah.
Been sat there for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the highways items have been completed. I would point out that most of them have been on the list for at least 2 years, as I did point out to what's his name? What's his name? The chief exec, Michael Bracey.
Bracey.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, shall we move on from those? Ward councillors' report has been given. There are no planning applications. Looking at report back on previous planning applications, the 4 that are going there. We've submitted our objection to the further pits development and comments on the 2 houses in the Chequers. I think 57 Thrupp Close is still waiting for a decision. Keeps on submitting revised drawings in the hope that planners will eventually be worn down, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So any of those anyone wants to speak on? Can we move on? Right. Moving into resolutions then, section 16. I do propose a public excluded part 2 of the meeting. So yeah, so it's Darren and everyone's favour. 16.2 we have to defer to next month. I would ask you to read the documents, but there we go. 16.3 it's just a huge south-facing roof on the pavilion. It won't really be seen by people. It is ours, parish council as the landlord, and I think it's worth investigating if everyone else is willing.
Yeah, I'd like to see something from Hanslope about the kind of cost justification, business case, if you like, for doing it. Yeah. Cost versus reward.
Well, I think, if we get this from Richard, I didn't catch his surname, but
There are, panels on there.
Like Phil said.
And I did do some research. I can't remember whether I posted it on in the folder. Yeah, of the organisations that do give grants for solar panels, and
How much of the grant would we get?
Well,
The height, what could we get?
the best one that I've seen, but I don't know if we qualify, is where it's a waste recycling one. And they give you the whole grant except for the tax that they would have paid on it. So it's like 20% or something.
I think we just got to be very careful about spending more of the parish council money on the pavilion, because it has been very focused. And it don't get me wrong, it's fabulous, but I think we just...
No, it's not the pavilion. It's on the pavilion. This is something not for the pavilion, it's for the village. So basically what we would do is we would spend money, invest a bit of money, and we would get the credit. I mean, we might come to a decision that we were, going to come to some agreement, but that's not for now.
But the resolution is to do a feasibility study.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that, absolutely.
And you can't actually debate
And there's quite a few people in Thrupp who have got solar panels on their houses as well, so I don't think there'd be objections on the look of it or anything like that.
Well, to be honest, because it faces Castle Field, I think the only person who could see it is Jackie Red.
Jackie Luke.
Yeah.
Is it worth arranging, like a subgroup and asking Richard to come along and speak to us?
Well, why don't you ask them to send us material first, and then we'll just, before we do that.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I mean, people like, I haven't really approached them yet, but people like Ian Horn, who's got solar panels on his, and he is,
Peter's been looking into it as well. hasn't he?
sorry, Peter's been looking into it as well, domestically, yeah. So there are people who would be, I think, willing to put a bit of, time in advising us.
Yeah,
Well,
the police are already studying.
Because sometimes it's easier to listen to somebody than rather
Yeah,
than
we don't
follow through.
have to study them from within the parish council, we just make use of.
Anyway, I take it that that is unanimous that we
Yeah.
investigate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right, then moving on then to the RFO. I'm just trying to find a payment schedule. There we go. So just looking at that, there's the usual clerk's costs and litter picking tools and so on. Stacey and Sue.
So it's just an indicative figure at the moment, because I haven't heard back from her this month. I don't know, I hope it's all right. So I'll just put that in a figure. It might not be
Sorry, who's this? Sue?
Sue.
All right, okay.
Emailed her.
Usual subscriptions.
Are the CSA happy with the reimbursement, Jackie?
Yeah. Yeah, are you?
That's what we agreed, didn't
You're happy with that?
it? Oh, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah, basically that £2,000 was to pay the excess of utilities consumed during the construction of the pavilion. We did say we would make them whole. And funny enough, although this is the number we talked about, it looks it looks pretty accurate. And the usual monthly credits. Any questions on this?
No.
No. In that case, if I propose, can I have a seconder, please? That's Kay, and all in favour.
There's a few to sign because we're, and also this is to close the Bank of Ireland account we've spoken about. I did try to close it and I realised that I had to do it in accordance with the mandate, which needs 2 signatures. So Russell and yourself could sign that. They're going to transfer the money into the Lloyd's account, closing balance.
Right, so that one there. Thank you. So, moving on then, the internal audits report. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Yeah, so there was this issue about the turnover exceeded 200,000, which is what we were doing. But fortunately, our auditors have said that we needn't change the basis of accounting unless it happens again next year, which is very unlikely. Because, no, just
Well, if solar panels suddenly come.
no, solar panels don't cost that much.
Yeah.
It's tens of thousands at most, not hundreds. And then there's some recommendations. Are you happy with all of those?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that all looks good. Okay, so we're happy with that.
Yes.
Incidentally, I mean, and it's being a bit naughty of me to say it, but the point about this transferring of these assets that we bought up at the clubhouse to CCS is because otherwise Jackie has to keep track of all the little tables and fly killers and all the rest of it that we bought when we did the cricket tees bit of that. And it's just my opinion. In my humble opinion, not worth it. Right, very good. To approve the annual return.
We need to read these through.
This is the
This is
A
the form.
This needs to be published on the website.
Yeah.
It will be
once,
public, yeah.
Yeah, they'll approve it.
Once they, yeah.
Shouldn't be published on the website.
So,
And that goes with the public right to
See the account.
accounts.
Right, so I assume that these figures are all correct, and so. Has everyone looked at the figures? And I mean broadly, I mean, I have to say it's a bit of a struggle to know whether we're right or not, but are we okay for me to say that
So,
that we'll approve this?
so the annual government statement, we should really be approving that.
No, I'm just starting us off. I'm on page 5.
We're going to do that now, right? Okay.
Yeah, is everyone happy with me to sign page 5?
Of the AGO.
Of the AGO, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. And then I need to add them in.
Right, so then moving on to, oh, funny enough, that was page 5, but the next, how this has got out of sequence. My apologies, Steve. So I now need to come back, and we have to actually formally agree that we have put in place arrangements for effective financial management during the year and for the preparation of accounting standards.
Yeah.
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 Maintained an adequate system of internal control, including measures to design to prevent and detect fraud and corruption, reviewed its effectiveness. So, I mean, basically, we've got actually three. It's three. Yeah. We took all reasonable steps to assure ourselves there are no matters of actual potential non-compliance with laws, regulations, or proper practices. Yeah, okay with that. We have provided proper opportunity during the year for the exercise of electors' rights in accordance with the requirements of the accounts and audit regulations. We published it on the website, which we've done. We carried out an assessment of the risks facing this authority and took appropriate steps to manage those risks, including the introduction of internal controls. Well, we did make a decision on the level of risk contingency that we should have. So I think we'll tick this. I think there is some further work that we do need to do in the coming year, but is everyone happy for me to tick that?
Well, we were pretty much the same last year, so.
We maintained throughout the year an adequate and effective control of an internal audit, which we did. Appropriate action on all matters raised in report from the internal audit, which just discussed. We've considered when in litigation liabilities, commitments, events or transactions occurring either during or after the year end have a financial impact on this authority, and where appropriate have included in the accounting statements. Now, the only thing that we have got is this potential provision for streetlights bills, which we've got the action, which is a loan facility that will be drawn down because we actually used the money we had to do the clubhouse, because why would you borrow your own money? For local councils only, trust funds including charitable.
Yeah, that's.
We're not that, it's not applicable, is it? Right, so.
Yeah, that's all good.
Sorry?
That's all good.
So everyone's happy with me to sign this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope so. Says chair.
Perfect. Thank you.
Right, is that everything?
Yeah.
Good. Right, moving on then, correspondence. Right, I mean, Alison's already talked about this. There is a call tomorrow. I will go on the call. As I said to Alison, and I have now sent it to her, I've been liaising and working with Richard Pryor, who's going to speak on Wednesday. I think this is a really bad thing that they're proposing to do.
It's dreadful. It's Trumpian.
I mean, I don't know whether you want me to sort of Trumpian, yes.
Yeah.
I've actually, did you pick that up from me, or did I?
No, I didn't.
Did I actually say, you know, my closing thing is, this is a matter of trust and honourable behaviour. Can we trust Milton Keynes Council anymore? Or has it just descended into Trumpian bullying of its smaller sibling?
No, I didn't pick that up.
But I think part of the problem is that you know, Pete Marland has announced that this is his last year. He's standing down, and I think he just, I really suspect he's just got cross, and he's as Alison said, And it's just,
It's
I
absolutely.
would call him, two fingers Pete, basically, is what he's doing to the parish councils. Anyway, there we go. I'm happy to share this with you if you would like to see my file being vetted.
Does anybody else want to join the call tonight? I wasn't sure whether I was, supposed to.
But I think with Richard himself speaking, we can get Alison.
Well, Richard can't make tomorrow night because it's Parks.
Oh, right, okay.
But he is going to speak on Wednesday. I don't think I'll go on Wednesday. I think he'll probably, he's got a copy of what I'm going to say anyhow.
I think Richard will cover.
Yeah. Okay. Any other business for noting or including on future
Well,
agendas?
we did have some more correspondence
Did we?
come in since
Yeah.
the agenda. Well, to you, the resident asked about the hedge opposite 66 Brook Close. Did you have a
Right.
chance to look at that?
Right, this is opposite Trisha and Alan. Right, so you come into your little bit of Thrupp Close.
Yeah.
And instead of going on to you, you turn right to the allotments. And there's a hedge on your right. When I look at the landscape plans that Milton Keynes originally gave us when we started taking it on, it looks to me as if they were marked on it, but they weren't included on the scope.
Hold on, I'm still on.
Is it part of the little bit of green?
Yeah,
Yeah, is that opposite Tim's house?
I know there's that.
opposite Tim and Tony's house.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, I know.
No, not opposite Tim's really, because Tim's is grass and that is cut. I don't know by whom, but it's
Tim cuts it.
Oh, Tim's cuts it, right, okay.
Yeah.
But if you then go up and turn right,
Into
there is into towards the allotments.
Yeah.
There is a hedge on your right, which is at the back of number 67. Is that Sandy?
Right.
Not sure if it's Sandy. Anyway, that hedge has not been cut, and basically the residents opposite are saying, is there any chance you can do it, because they really are of an age that they can't be climbing ladders and doing it.
Okay, is that before the 5-bar gate that goes
Yeah.
into the allotment on the
Yeah.
right hand side?
Yeah.
I never really noticed that hedge on the road's been.
How long have you been there, Steve?
Oh, I don't know. It's like, well, I guess we could probably get some
Charlie Needham.
Charlie. Yeah, that couldn't we? Wouldn't take.
Well, we can't do it now anyway until, yeah.
That's.
And so, but could you look at it, perhaps as you walk back tonight?
I might go be dark.
Oh, I see, yeah.
I'll have a look and
Yeah.
maybe have one with Charlie, because I think we're going to ask Charlie in a not to disturb any bird's nest kind of way to try and cut back the hedge going down from Thrupp Close into Castlethorpe. Along
Yeah,
that footway,
yeah.
so
Well,
while it's doing that.
I was going to do that, Steve. I was just going to get them, I'll do that.
Strimmer, it's really the,
It's the nettles coming up,
it's the nettles,
the
and,
meeting,
Yeah,
the,
but the hedge certainly is overgrown.
yeah,
And
it's very difficult.
you can
I
only do it by
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
No, I-
Leave that one with Jackie, perhaps Charlie, but maybe it needs to be added to Jordan's schedule for,
Yeah, I don't think it's a lot of work and it's not a lot of hedge.
well, I hope not, no.
I'll have a look.
Yeah, have a look.
and then we had a correspondence from Wydid about the cycle track that's now closed. She was trying to divert through Lodge Farm Business Park and,
That's been
found,
answered.
found that.
That's already been answered.
Yeah, so I was just saying we had.
They said there should be always, they should have said that
Oh, I
basically
did see
it's there
that.
because they're taking lorries and things through.
Right, I just
So
said
it was a safety thing.
I was just going to say that Sostran, I wrote to Sostran and they replied very quickly and were very helpful. So
Yeah.
if there's any other problems, I was just going to say, let me know. And,
They responded to that comment on,
oh, I didn't see that.
well, somebody has.
Yeah, I saw a response.
Yeah,
What,
yeah.
sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's,
there'll always
that's,
be somebody, there should be somebody there to escort you
yeah,
through.
that's,
But the
that's,
problem was she was coming back, so it was in the evening and there wasn't anybody there because they'd obviously gone home for the day. But
Well,
he's
But
resolved.
they're looking at taking
Yeah.
part of that out.
but, yeah, but look, it's done, it's not.
Yep.
Right, anything else?
just the moths, but. I mean,
I just, they're getting closer and closer and they literally destroy the habitat. Have you seen- I mean, you must have seen the hedges down the side.
Well, you did see the note that I quickly
Yeah,
little
I just don't know
AI'd it.
whether we should do something about it because they'll be invading people's gardens next but that's up to people.
Yeah,
I was just pointing it out that they are actually at fox cover. They've reached there and they've destroyed the second hedge already.
yeah.
Totally.
So I mean, I think the only thing you can do is as you said, insecticide, and there's all sorts of rules about that. And it wasn't recommended in the little bit of research
They've
that I
recommended
did.
a biological way of doing it, but I'll just pick them off.
Like a basket.
Yeah, I've literally got nothing else to do with my time than pick off.
Well, that's
caterpillars.
science.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that's that.
water.
All right. Can we
Yeah, it's me done.
move on then? I think that's probably everything. The next meeting is, as I've already said, 2nd of June. So I think I can close this meeting, yeah? Yeah, thank you. Right, so that's the end of part 1. We're now going to go into part 2. So I will thank anyone that's borne with us so far. And hopefully we'll see you on the 2nd of June at the usual time of 7.